The 2002 World Cup in South Korea and Japan is the most important World Cup for Indians because, frankly, without it, people like me wouldn't be here. I'm Mangesh, and that's exactly what this series is about. Revisiting every World Cup from 2002 to 2022. Not just through the games, but through the memories of someone whose life was shaped by them. Now let me explain why the 2002 World Cup was so important to the country. It was the first ever World Cup to be held in Asia. So the marketing campaigns by Pepsi, Adidas and Co were Asia-centric, with footballers playing with sumo wrestler in the adverts. People did not just wanted to play like Ronaldo and Beckham, they also wanted their haircuts. But one of the most important factors was match timing. I remember rushing home from school because I wanted to watch the quarter-final between England and Brazil that started at 12 pm. The World Cup final between Brazil and Germany was at 4:30 pm IST. When did you see something like that before? The FIFA World Cup in 2002 turned out to be as important as the Cricket World Cup in 96 because just like the 96 Cricket World Cup made me follow each and every game of cricket, after the 2002 FIFA World Cup, all of us started following each and every game of football. In a cricket-loving country, the seed of football was finally sown. However, this was by design. South Korean President Kim Young-sam wanted to embrace globalization in every aspect, and the bid to the World Cup was a part of that. As per his expectation, the World Cup turned out to be a festival of globalization. Because in the very first game of the tournament, when world champions France took on Senegal in their first ever campaign, every player in Senegal's starting lineup was playing club football in France. Yet, only one French player, Franck Lebon, was playing in France itself. Most countries had players scattered across England, Spain and Italy. Japan and Tunisia, two countries worlds apart, had a Brazilian in their team. Between all this, David Beckham emerged as the first ever football mega brand. However, another thing that popularized World Cup in Asia and India was Brazil winning it. Because even if you did not know football, you knew Brazil. Even if you did not know any footballers, you knew Ronaldo and Rivaldo. You knew Brazil was the biggest football nation. You knew Brazil had an outstanding attack. But in modern times, it's not just the attack that wins you World Cups. You also need tournament's best defense. Brazil had 5 genuine world-class attacking players, but they also had a solid defensive unit. Lucio and Rocky Jr. as centre-backs, and Edmilson, Gilberto Silva, and Man United legend Cleverson anchoring the midfield. Of course, they were mainly famous for their attackers, and the tournament was more special for one of their attackers. We are talking about R9, the original Ronaldo. The Brazilian striker had redefined the striker role with his explosive pace and his tendency to start attacks from deep positions. In 96-97, he scored 47 goals in 49 games for Bobby Robson's Barcelona and helped them win 3 trophies. So he took a risk of moving to the most difficult and defensive league in Europe in a World Cup year. Again, he scored 34 goals for Inter and won the UEFA Cup. 1998 was going to be his World Cup. The narrative was shaping really well for him. He scored 4 goals in France and was one of the tournament's best players. But the unthinkable happened on the day of the final. He suffered a mysterious fit that knocked him out of the game. Edmundo, who was on the pitch for 20 minutes, had more touches than him. So for R9, the whole saga made the tournament more personal than ever before, and both he and his team started the World Cup really well. In the group stage, they easily brushed aside Turkey, China and Costa Rica, scoring 11 goals and conceding 3. After defeating Belgium in the round of 16, Brazil was set to play one of their most important games of the tournament, a quarter-final against David Beckham's England. This game, though, is mainly known for the other Ronaldo. In this game, Ronaldinho, which literally means Little Ronaldo, announced himself to the world. He was genius with ball at his feet, and his trickery was something that the world has never seen before. In the game, England's defensive duo of Rio Ferdinand and Sol Campbell were able to keep Ronaldo quiet, but they did not have a plan for Ronaldinho. However, the game got tricky very early as Michael Owen pounced on Lucio's mistake to put England ahead. The Brazilian attack was finding difficult to break England's defense. Just before halftime, Ronaldinho received ball just behind center circle, went past Ashley Cole with a beautiful step over and laid a beautiful pass to Rivaldo, who scored an equalizer. Then in the 50th minute, when Brazil got a free kick 35 yards away from goal, everyone expected a pass. But Ronaldinho pinged it over David Seaman's head to everyone's surprise, scoring one of the most famous goals in World Cup history, leaving David Seaman completely helpless. But what went in Brazil's favour was that all the other big teams massively underperformed. The Netherlands under Louis van Gaal did not qualify for the tournament. France, Argentina and Portugal were knocked out in the group stage. South Korea sent Spain and mainly Italy packing. And Germany, despite reaching the final, were not at their best, which was reflected in their performance in the previous and the subsequent Euros. Due to this, 4 out of 8 quarterfinalists were relative minnows. So apart from England versus Brazil, the other quarterfinals versus the US versus Germany, Senegal versus Turkey and Spain versus South Korea. Brazil defeated Turkey again in the semi-final. So in the final, Oliver Kahn's Germany stood in Brazil's way. Oliver Kahn, who was the world's best goalkeeper at the time, single-handedly carried his country to the final. But unfortunately for him, he made a rare mistake in the final for the first goal and the game was over. Ronaldo scored another one after a few minutes. Brazil won its 5th World Cup and haven't been able to win it since then. Just like R9 in 1998, Oliver Kahn won the Golden Ball. And to this date, is the only goalkeeper to do so. Golden Ball meant nothing to R9 this time. He finally got the trophy he had craved for all his life. After the tragedy of the 98 final, Ronaldo finally got his redemption. More importantly, the best thing about this World Cup was that it got an entire generation of Indian fans hooked on football. And here we are.